All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving deep into a place we all think we know, Hollywood.
Hollywood.
But as always, there's more than meets the eye, our source.
Mm-hmm.
The Wikipedia article on, you guessed it, Hollywood, Los Angeles. And it's fresh, folks.
Ooh.
Last updated February 28th, 2025. So we're talking cutting-edge stuff here. And believe me,
Okay.
there are some surprises waiting for us.
I'm intrigued.
I mean, yeah, Hollywood, it's movies, stars, that big old sign.
Yeah.
But did you know it was once dry?
Dry.
Like no booze. And it almost became its own city.
Yeah.
Wild.
I bet there's a story there.
Oh, there are stories. All right. We're going to get into the history, the geography,
Right.
even a little peek at the socioeconomic landscape.
The real deal.
Absolutely. So let's start with the obvious. When you hear Hollywood, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Movies, of course.
Boom. Exactly. It's like the heart of the U.S. film industry.
I mean, you've got Sony, Disney, Paramount, all those big studios right there, or at least nearby.
So we're not talking about some abstract concept here.
No.
This is a real place. You can walk those streets.
According to the article, Hollywood's got specific boundaries, even.
Okay.
North, you've got Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay.
East, Western Avenue. South, it's Melrose Avenue.
And west?
West is a bit of a mix, either La Brea Avenue or the West Hollywood city line.
All right, so next time I'm in L.A., I can actually walk around and say,
Right.
I am in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But then there's that nickname, Tinseltown.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't quite paint the same picture, does it?
Yeah.
More like Fantasyland.
Well, Tinseltown, it's all about the glitz and glam, the dream factory. But like I said, there's more to it.
Oh, I'm all about the more to it. Lay it on me.
We're talking a different kind of dream in the early days.
Different how?
Well, for starters, Hollywood was founded way back in 1903.
Wow.
And get this, it was incorporated as its own municipality.
Its own what?
Municipality, like a whole separate town.
Whoa, I had no idea. So
Yeah.
where'd the name even come from?
So the article says this woman, Daida Wilcox, wife of a real estate developer, she heard the name. Apparently, someone had an estate called Hollywood over in Illinois.
Interesting.
She thought it sounded nice, plus she was a little superstitious.
Oh.
Believed Holly brought good luck.
Makes you wonder if she'd ever actually seen Hollywood.
Right. Because, picture this, instead of red carpets and premieres, you've got a quiet little town.
Seriously?
Citrus groves.
Citrus groves. Not exactly the Walk of Fame, huh?
Nope. But there was this guy, H.J. Whitley, real estate developer. He had a vision.
Right.
Promoted the area like crazy, even brought in electricity. Pretty big deal back then.
Yeah, that was cutting edge.
And he was a major player in Southern California's growth spurt back then. But hold on, there's a twist.
Another one.
Early Hollywood, it was dry.
Wait, what?
No liquor sales unless you had a doctor's note.
So they're building this world of fantasy on screen, but can't have a beer off screen.
That'd be ironic, isn't it?
Totally. Okay, but how did Hollywood end up part of Los Angeles?
Ah, good question.
Spill the tea.
So in 1910, the residents actually voted to merge with L.A.
Why would they do that?
They needed water and sewer systems. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
It was happening all over as L.A. grew, swallowing up these smaller towns.
So purely practical.
Pretty much. But here's the thing. That same year, 1910, the first filmmaker shows up.
Oh.
D.W. Griffith shot a short film there in Old California.
The first one ever.
The very first. Opened the floodgates, you could say.
So what was the draw? Why Hollywood, out of all places?
Well, there were a few reasons. First off, coming to California, it meant escaping Thomas Edison.
Edison, like the light bulb guy?
Yep, he held most of the patents for cameras and stuff back east.
Oh, so they were like, let's get out of Dodge.
Smart move. But it wasn't just that.
Okay, so what else?
Hollywood offered perfect weather year-round for filming.
Can't argue that.
Plus, California's got it all. Mountains, deserts, beaches.
So no need to travel far for different sets.
Exactly. And land was pretty cheap back then.
So you've got freedom from Edison, ideal weather, diverse locations, and cheap real estate.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
No wonder filmmakers flocked there.
And flock they did. By the 1920s, the film industry in Hollywood,
Yeah.
fifth largest industry in the entire U.S., talk about a powerhouse.
Oh, wow. And then comes the 1930s and the rise of this studio system, right?
You got it.
So what exactly was that?
Basically, the major studios figured out how to control everything.
Everything. Like what?
Production, distribution, even exhibition with their own theaters.
That's a lot of power.
Total control, top to bottom.
Shaped the whole industry, I bet.
Absolutely. So we've got this movie-making machine cranking away, but what does that look like?
What comes to mind when you picture Hollywood, the actual place?
Hmm, that's a good question.
Well, I mean, got to be the Hollywood sign, right? Like the ultimate
Oh,
symbol.
for sure. But it's got its own little story, too. Did you know it wasn't always just Hollywood?
No way, what was it?
It was Hollywoodland.
Seriously?
Yep, back in 1923. It was an ad, believe it or not,
For what?
a housing
I'm
development.
kidding.
But over time, it kind of fell apart, and it became more of a landmark than an ad.
So they just left it.
Well, eventually, the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce and the city of Los Angeles,
Okay.
they teamed up in 1949 and fixed it up.
Nice.
Decided to ditch the land part, just Hollywood, more symbolic.
Yeah, makes sense. From real estate to representing the whole industry, the whole dream. And speaking of Hollywood dreams,
The Walk of Fame.
gotta love the Walk of Fame, right? Stars on the sidewalk, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's like a physical history of Hollywood.
And it's not just actors, right?
No, it's directors, musicians, even some fictional characters,
That's awesome.
honoring everyone who's made a mark on entertainment.
And it's been around for a while, hasn't it?
Since 1960, officially opened February 8th.
So over 65 years of history right there under your feet.
Literally. And while you're walking down Hollywood Boulevard, you can't miss the Capitol Records building.
The round one, right?
Yep, unmistakable. Classic Hollywood vibes.
Built in 56, if I remember correctly.
You got it. True icon of the music industry, right there in the heart of Hollywood.
It's funny, when you think about all these landmarks, the sign, the Walk of Fame, that building,
Mm-hmm.
it shows how Hollywood changed. From a little town with citrus groves
Right?
to this global symbol of, well, entertainment.
It's like a visual timeline almost.
Totally. But Hollywood's had its rough patches too, right? I mean, it's not all glitz and glamour.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's had its ups and downs, just like any place.
I heard the 80s were pretty tough. What happened then?
It was a rough time for a lot of cities back then.
Yeah,
Crime went up, poverty became more visible,
right.
even some historic buildings were threatened.
Wow, that's a different side of Hollywood.
For sure. But Hollywood's got resilience.
So things turned around.
Since 2000, there's been a big push for revitalization.
Like what?
Gentrification, new hotels, apartments going up everywhere, big development projects.
Yeah.
Between 2001 and 2016, over 1,200 new hotel rooms.
Wow.
And 2019 alone, thousands of new apartments, over 30 development projects approved.
It's booming again. But that could be tricky, right? Yeah.
Uh,
Like, what about the people who already live there?
That's the thing with revitalization. It's complicated.
Yeah. Who benefits? Who gets pushed out? It's a tough question.
It is. And it reminds me of that time in 2002
Yeah.
when Hollywood tried to secede from Los Angeles.
Obviously.
Yep. Whole secession movement.
That's wild. Why would they want to do that?
Well, they weren't happy with city services, wanted more control over things.
Like what?
Zoning, development, that kind of stuff. Felt like their needs weren't being met,
So they wanted to go solo.
basically. But it didn't work out. The referendum failed.
Still, it shows you, even with all the fame, Hollywood's still a neighborhood.
Part of a bigger city with the same issues everyone else faces.
Absolutely. And it's a pretty diverse neighborhood, too, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Densely populated, seventh densest in LA County.
Wow.
Median age around 31, so pretty young.
Okay.
And the mix of people, it's like a snapshot of LA.
Oh, yeah.
42.2% Latino, 41% white, 7.1% Asian, and so on.
A real melting pot.
It is part of what makes it so vibrant, I think. All these different perspectives, creative energy.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot about movies and entertainment.
Right.
What about just living there? Is there anything else to Hollywood?
Well, it is a real neighborhood, schools, libraries, fire stations, all that.
Yeah, of course.
Easy to forget sometimes.
Are there even radio stations broadcasting from Hollywood anymore?
That's funny you mentioned that. The article says the last one left in 2005.
Really?
KNX it was. So even the airwaves have moved on, you could say.
Wow.
But there's still plenty going on, neighborhood councils, things like that.
So people have a say in what happens.
Exactly. It's this weird mix,
You have the global and the local.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it so interesting.
We've only scratched the surface here, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. This deep dive, it's just the starting point.
There's the architecture, the music history, so much to explore.
And Hollywood's always changing, too. Its story isn't over.
Okay, so we're back. And we've really gone deep on Hollywood, haven't we?
We have, from those early days with, what was it, citrus groves?
Citrus groves.
To all the changes happening now, gentrification, that secession attempt.
It's been a wild ride. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I kind of want to just picture some of those iconic Hollywood spots. The places that really make it, well, Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely. We've mentioned a few landmarks,
Mm-hmm.
but there are so many more, it's hard to choose.
So where should we start our little virtual tour?
Hmm. Let's see. How about we go old school?
Okay.
Picture yourself standing in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Ooh, I love that place.
It's been there since 1927, you know? All those handprints and footprints, it's legendary.
It's like a pilgrimage for movie fans.
It really is. And right across the street, you've got the El Capitan Theater.
Oh, yeah, that beautiful Art Deco one.
That's the one. So many premieres, so many events, it's seen it all.
You can practically feel the history. And speaking of history,
Hmm.
we can't forget the Dolby Theater,
Yes. Home of the Oscars.
where all the stars come out to shine.
It's the heart of Hollywood glamour, for sure.
And of course, you got to take a walk down the Walk of Fame.
Of course.
It's amazing just thinking about all those stars stretching for blocks. Marilyn Monroe, Mickey Mouse, everyone's there.
It's a tribute to all the talent that's passed through Hollywood. Movies, music, everyone.
And speaking of music, we got to give a shout out to the Capitol Records building.
Oh, absolutely. Not just a building, it's a symbol. The music industry's got a big footprint in Hollywood.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And, for a different kind of Hollywood experience,
Yeah.
the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Yes. Where so many legends are laid to rest.
It's kind of surreal, walking through there.
Rudolph Valentino, Cecil B. DeMille, Judy Garland. It makes you think about how many people have contributed to this whole Hollywood story.
It really does. But then there were the places that remind you it's a real neighborhood too, right?
Absolutely.
The schools, the libraries, even the fire stations.
See, everyday stuff, people live and work there. It's not all about the movies.
It's that mix that makes it so fascinating, I think.
I agree. Hollywood, it's like a tapestry. Entertainment, history, culture, all woven together.
In people's lives too. Their dreams, their stories, on screen and off.
Exactly. We've just scratched the surface here, really.
This deep dive, it's a starting point. There's so much more to discover, so many more stories to uncover.
So to our listener, we say keep exploring, read more, watch documentaries, maybe even plan a trip to Hollywood yourself.
It's a place that keeps on giving. You never know what you might find.
Hollywood's more than just a facade. It's a place with a past, a present, and a future that's still being written.
So keep questioning, keep digging, and never lose that sense of wonder.
And who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to tell the next chapter in Hollywood's story.
Until next time, folks.